find out who I was, and my mum came home from work early and found me dressed in her clothing, which
at least 49
didn't go well at all, and I got made to feel very ashamed. They have a vested interest.
Two beautiful women just chopping it up.
That are, and this guy said to me, I don't really understand all this trans stuff. He said, but I just want you to know that all the lads have got your back. And again, you're just like, wow, you know.
Yeah, let's do this transtent. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Don't forget to support the stream. Hey, maybe we can fill the bars. Wow. We're gonna need some kicks. We're gonna need some significant kicks, and then we're also gonna need some subs. Shut your Prime subs, guys. Shut your Prime subs. Shut your Prime subs. Thanks for listening to my show.
Being trans is something that it never goes away.
No.
It's a part of you. It's something that you are born with.
For the last 26 years I've worked in the car industry, so a very male dominated industry. It's weird, I've hit my 50th birthday and come to a bit of a crossroads, and it's now like, which way do I go? Do I go over? Do I go left? Do I go right? So it's then, but also it was geared around, I wanted my son to have to deal with this as an adult. I didn't want him to deal with it as a kid. So my wife found out during COVID lockdown, and it was because she saw pictures of me at a makeover on my iPad.
How was the process for you?
The wife like, what the fuck is Roger doing? Why is Roger wearing a dress? Thank you for the kicks, and thank you Trix Malone for the very generous 500 kicks. Appreciate that. Thank you.
When you were like, okay, I'm trans, like, you know, I want to do something about it. What was your first step to take?
You know, she said to me, oh, well, you know, we've got one of those in the town that we live in. And I'm like, what do you mean one of those? And she's like, well, you know, a transvestite. And I'm like, Mum, that's not what I am. You know? So I started HRT 3 years ago on a low dose, and then just kind of increased it.
Does he still call you dad?
Yeah, and I don't mind that. You know, that people have said, you know, isn't that a bit odd? And I'm like, well, no, because I'm not his mum.
What would you say to those people who might be thinking about transitioning later in their lives, who have kids, who have partners, and they are scared to come out? What encouraging message would you have for them?
And this guy said to me, he said, I don't really understand all this trans stuff. He said, but I just want you to know that all the lads have got your back. And again, you're just like, wow, you know.
All the lads have got your back. Oh my god.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Trans Crash, the spicy, fun and educational podcast where every Thursday we dive deep into lives, stories and experiences of trans women. I'm your host Pevi, and I'm so happy you are here with us every single Thursday, whether you are watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Wherever you are, make sure you hit the subscribe button or the follow button to make sure you are
Hey, thank you for the $10, Jason Coward.
Are caught up with every episode every Thursday. Now, our today's guest is Lauren, who is a trans woman from Kent and who started her transition at the age of 49. Big inspiration for many of us. And I'm so happy she's in the studio with us.
49 is a rough age to transition at. You're literally you're basically done. You're beyond done at that point, aren't you? You're really, you know, you're really pushing that boulder up the hill forever if you're transitioning at 49.
Today. Hi, Lauren. Welcome to Trans Crash.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So excited to get to know you and listen to your story. It's super inspiring. I always like when I get in touch with trans women who started their transition a bit later in their life. Yeah. And I think it's so incredibly inspiring, and also for other trans women who may be thinking about transition as well. Yeah. So I'm really happy that you accepted my invitation and you are here to share your story.
I'm happy to, thanks.
So let's dive right in. Let's crash it.
Yeah.
So the first question is, what makes you happy?
What a question to start with. Do you know what? And not just because of the fact that I'm trans. I think the older that I've got, happiness is a lot more simple now. I think I spent probably a large proportion of my life looking for happiness and thinking things made me happy and didn't. And I think you know, you appreciate now what you see in the mirror. You appreciate the people around you, your friends, your family, and I'm at my happiest when I'm around people that see me as me, and that I can just, you know, go and be me, be myself in doing the most mundane, everyday things. You know, and yeah, don't get me wrong. There's you know, lots of money would make me happy as well, but no, I'd say part of being trans and part of dysphoria is the fact that you probably spend your life searching for something to make you happy, whereas actually it's probably a lot more binary and a lot more simple than that.
Would you say you find happiness in yourself now?
More than ever, yeah. I think the person that I used to be was for the sake and for the benefit of others. So you know, you've seen a picture of me pre-transition. I was very big. I weight trained and I tried to be the person that fits stereotype around the people that were in my life to be that person for them. Whereas actually, I think when you get to this point, you realise that they've got to accept you for who you are and how happy you feel. So yeah.
What changed from, let's say, was it people pleasing, would you say, or was it more for like fulfilling expectations?
I think it was both. I think I tried.
So what are you saying, guys? What are you saying, guys? How many beers? Oh.
life. I mean, my life kind of went on a bit of a tangent when I was 15 because I was experimenting and trying to find out who I was. And my mum came home from work early and found me dressed in her clothing, which
At least 49
didn't go well at all, and I got made to feel very ashamed. And from that point,
alternatively, we got no beers needed.
my life kind of went on a bit of a
good.
tangent where I kind of thought, well, okay, I'm going to be the man that you want me to be then. And I think, you know, if that hadn't have happened, I think things might have turned out differently. So yeah, it's a combination of people pleasing and just fitting that stereotype and also not dealing with this. You know, I spent 40 odd years just having it locked away, just refusing to deal with it, refusing to entertain it and hoping that it would go away. And it didn't. It never went away. And that's why it got to the point where I had to do something about it.
I love it. I think what you just said, it's so important because being trans is something that it never goes away. It's a part of you. It's something that you are born with. And, you know, some people find out sooner or later. You mentioned you had the first kind of like the experience.
Yeah, it's very funny. Chud has got many trans crushes. Trans, go. I've heard it all before. Okay? How do I get a job on this show? Actually, I don't know, lean into it. It's stupid.
15? Like you were playing with the idea at the age of 15?
Oh, my first realization that something was there when I was about 4 or 5.
Wow.
You know, I always knew that something was there. I always saw, you know, I saw femininity and beauty not just as an attraction, but as wanting to be like that. And as I say, you know, watching Wonder Woman on the TV at 4 or 5 years old and wanting to be like that. So you know, it goes way back.
Chud would go for some hot gawk to rub against his succulent lips.
It just took me a long time to do anything about it.
What do you do now in your life? What have you been doing all your life?
So for the last 26 years, I've worked in the car industry, so a very male-dominated industry. And
Bro, imagine walking into the mechanics and seeing this woman there. You what, you in free MOT? Yeah, don't worry. Give me your keys. I'll sort it out. No problem. I mean, to be honest with you, you know, this is like fine to have a bit of a laugh with, but I don't actually like, I mean, this person seems fairly reasonable. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's wonderful.
Except for
But
pretending
how
to
do
be
I
a
make
woman.
money off
Okay.
depressed people?
Except for pretending to be a woman. Other than that, it's fucking fine. Thank you for the Prime sub. Thank you. Check your Prime sub, guys. Get your Prime subs checked. Come on. Give me a reason to stream on Twitch for fuck's sake, dude. Give me some Prime subs. But yeah, I don't know, dude. What is this? Okay, send me the emote. Send me the emote. Dude, this is perfect for this segment as well. Someone send me the emote. Yeah, I got it, I've got it.
last 12, 13 years, I've been a head of business. So I run a main dealership effectively, but I'm just on a bit of a sabbatical at the moment. So it's weird. I've hit my 50th birthday and come to a bit of a crossroads, and it's now like, which way do I go? Do I go over? Do I go left? Do I go right? So it's quite an exciting time because, you know, it's I don't know what's ahead, and that's pretty cool. Yeah,
new fresh chapter.
Yeah,
new page of the book.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
is exciting.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just saw that you just turned 15.
Yes.
Congratulations, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I think it's incredibly inspiring to hit this milestone with this new. I don't want to say personality, but like new me. New part of you.
I think part of I mean, part of the reason why I didn't deal with this until now is I wanted to, if I was going to transition, I wanted to do it before I was 50. I just had that in my head, and I wanted to do it while I was still kind of young enough to deal with the dysphoria a bit and be able to see in the mirror and look down at myself and see what I've always wanted to see, rather than transitioning with respect too late and maybe not getting that fulfillment. So yeah, I partly I wanted to do it then, but also it was geared around, I wanted my son to have to deal with this as an adult. I didn't want him to deal with it as a kid. So
what should I call the
so
emo?
I waited until he turned 18, and that was when I sort of started the process, really.
So the whole life, let's say from the age of 15, let's say, when your mum saw you dressing up, until your coming out, was it mostly because of your son that you waited until he's adult? Was it the main reason why you waited with the transition?
It was one of the main reasons, definitely. And part of it, as I said, was my refusal to deal with it. You know, I tried to be male. I've been married twice, and you know, tried to live that life because I was too afraid, and probably still had that.
Do they both have cocks?
Shame that
I
had been
don't
ingrained in
know.
me from when my mum found me. That was still overbearing, and until you actually get to the point where you deal with that and you start to accept yourself, then you can never move forward with it. So yeah, predominantly it was because I didn't want my son to have to deal with having a trans parent at school age. I just so I wanted him to have the dad that I had growing up. So I coached his football teams and all that kind of stuff, and I was just stereotypical dad to him as a kid, so that he had that rather than something a little bit unusual.
How old is he now?
He's 21 in November, so next month.
Yeah. What goes in your head when you are, let's say, 30? Let's say when you're 40. Do you think about being a woman every single day?
Yeah. And you think about it, and you know, so it's almost daring to dream. You think about it, and you know, on the one hand, it's you know, it's, as I say, it's a goal and it's a positive thing, and then on the other hand, it's like, oh God, it still hasn't gone away, and I'm just going to lock it away in the box again. And I never really took it out of that box, as I say, until I was in my 40s. And I knew
Kickers,
that I
check your
hadn't gone anywhere
emotes.
and that I had to deal with it.
Was there like a time when you secretly like dressed up when no one was
Kickers, check your emotes. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't give you the option to put it on for free, so I have to put it as a paid emote.
at home in those times, or did you just really try to get rid of the idea and suppress it?
When I lived alone, and when I probably lived alone for about 3 or 4 years, and I did then. But once I was in relationships or living with people, I just got rid of it.
I'm trying to do it. Twitch is fucking up now.
Come back, and then I went and got a makeover when I was 43, 44, and that changed it. That was like, wow, I can't put the lid back on the box now. And you know, when you think, I mean, crikey, I've still got the photographs of it, and I look ridiculous. I looked really bad. But something in your brain is like, this is what needs to be done. This is what needs to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And then it's at that point where you think, is this something that I can put on, then put away, and go back to normal life, or is it something bigger? And I think I always knew it was something bigger, but it's again, you've got to get to that point where you accept that it's bigger and you deal with it. It's funny that my wife found out during COVID lockdown, and it was because she saw pictures of me at a makeover on my iPad, and I quickly tried to shut the iPad down. And she's going, "Who's that woman?" And I'm like, "Oh, no one. And she's like, "You need to tell me you're having an affair." And and I'm like, "No, it's not that." And I showed her the picture, and that was
What was her reaction? When you said
horrified.
Yeah, when she saw it was you.
Yeah, she straight away she said, "Well, what does this mean then? Does this mean you're into men? Does this mean you're gay?" And she's been very understanding of the process that I've needed to follow, but that moment was the relationship dead. That was the marriage.
Bro, it's not working. Twitch is fucking up.
Marry this person.
Sorry guys, Twitch is fucking up. I don't know why it's fucking up on Twitch. It's not. It says it's not square, but it is square. It's gone up on the other sites, but it's up on YouTube and Kick at least for now.
She didn't marry the person that she knew that. I think she knew that this was the path I was going to take. She married a hairy, tattooed bodybuilder, and I'm not that.
Yeah, unfortunately, YouTubers, there's no free emote slots on YouTube. Otherwise, I put it up for free. But very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Why is this not working, bro?
So and I wish it had been different, but I respect her for that, and she's been great. We still live together as friends. We've got four dogs together, and we still sit on the sofa and watch TV together. But at the end of the night, she goes up the stairs and goes that way, and I go that way, and it works at the moment. So yeah,
that's nice that you kind of still friends, and you respect each other, and she's understanding.
Yeah,
and. Does your son live with you as well?
Yes.
Yeah. What was his reaction? Because when was it? Was it 7 years ago as well? Was it just a year ago?
I told him last year. His initial reaction is he knew something was coming. I said that I wanted to talk to him about something, and he's since said to me that he thought I was going to tell him I was gay. His initial reaction was brilliant, and he was really supportive. And look, we've got a really close bond. He doesn't have a relationship with his mum, my first wife, so I'm kind of all he's got, apart from my mum as well. So initially he was like, look, he gave me a cuddle and we cried, and I said to him, look, I hope we're going to be okay. And he's like, look, you'll never lose me. And then for a period, I know, sorry. And then for a period, he went really wobbly because he didn't know how to deal with it, And once he started seeing the physical changes, and once the name changed, and once I was out to everybody, that's tough for a 20-year-old lad whose dad has been his male role model to all of a sudden see his dad becoming female. It's really tough on him, but he wants to understand, and he tries, and he makes that effort, and fair play to him for that. We went out to a family anniversary party a couple of months ago.
Bro, Twitch isn't working. I don't know why. Fuck Twitch, bro. It's saying it's not square shaped. It is fucking square shaped. I just changed it to make sure it's definitely square shaped, bro. What the fuck is Twitch's problem, dude? Bro, how is Twitch so fucking finicky with this shit, dude? It's fucking square shaped, dude. I've just changed it. I've just fucking changed it, bro. Kick, no problem. YouTube, no problem.
And that was the first time that he'd been out with anything to do with the family with me as me. And bless him, he was talking about me and he tried to refer to me as she, and he fumbled it, but then corrected himself. And I just thought, you know what, fair play to you for that. You know, and I love him to bits. He's my absolute world. I'm going to cry now. But yeah.
Yeah. Does he still call you dad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and I
did
don't mind
change
that.
the
You know,
file
people have said, you know, isn't that a bit odd? And I'm like, well, no, because I'm not his mum, and I wouldn't want him to call me by my first name. I've always been Dad, so you know, for me, that's just the name he calls me. I don't necessarily think that there has to be a male stereotype attached to that, but yeah.
But when he's talking about you in front of people, he's using she pronouns.
Yes.
Yeah. And you also mentioned your mum. What was her reaction like?
Terrible. Oh my God. So my mum's reaction was very similar to the fact that when I said that she walked in on me when I was 15 years old, nothing had changed. And so it was like a double take of that. It was that part two. And
I don't know what's going on with Twitch. It's Twitch's fault. They're not letting me upload it. The other site's just up and live. For some reason, Twitch is saying it's not square, but it is square. And I've just literally changed it in Paint to make it 200 to 201 pixels. And it's not working.
She was awful, and really didn't react very well at all. And in fairness, she feels terrible for that now. I mean, that was 2 years ago that I told her, and for a few weeks she was just vile about it, and she just had in her head that it was going to be, you know, she had that typical stereotype of what a trans person is. She associated it with sex, she associated it with fetishism or whatever, and
What do you think, guys? What are you saying? You buying that? You buying that one?
And you know, she said to me, oh, well, you know, we've got one of those in the town that we live in. And I'm like, what do you mean one of those? And she's like, well, you know, a transvestite. And I'm like, Mum, that's not what I am, you know. And she said, you know, I'm going to be embarrassed to think of you wearing leather mini skirts and fishnets. And I'm like, Mum, for Christ's sake, you know, I've got a bit of style. And even if I do wear a leather mini skirt, you know, it's not going to. Anyway, she.
I mean, I do.
Well, yeah, and you look fab in it. So as I'm saying it, I'm thinking, no, that's not what I mean.
I know
but no. After a few weeks, she mellowed a bit, and I'd said to her, what changed? And she said she'd run into her brother, my uncle, and blurted it out to him, and blurted out how ashamed she was, etc. And he said, well, how does your child feel? And she said, what do you mean? He said, well, you told me how you feel about it, but have you thought to think of how your child feels about it? And she hadn't. And that was when she started. All I wanted her to do was to start asking questions.
Emotionally guilt tripping into your 50-year-old son transing out. No, to be honest with you, I mean, what can you say about this, dude? There's not much to say. I blushed, been distracted with the emo thing. But I mean, I don't know. It's like, dude, transtent needs to be some deranged trans person saying crazy shit, not someone just being like, oh yeah, here's what happened.
Being inquisitive, wanting to learn, and once she started to do that, she's great now. She's absolutely brilliant now. You know, she calls me her daughter. She, you know, for my birthday, she posted wishing my daughter Lauren happy 50th birthday, and it's really, really good now. But she had to go through that. But fair play to her. She got to the point where she said, okay, I'm open and I want to learn. And now she realizes that it's nothing to be ashamed of. And she actually says that I'm a better person now than I used to be. So, you know, because she said you used to be so aggressive, and I'm like, yeah, it's because my balance is right now. You know, I'm running on the right fuel now. So yeah,
I always say the same. Like, you're running on fuel.
Yeah.
Are you on HRT?
Yeah.
How was the process for you when you were like, okay, I'm trans, like, you know, I want to do something about it? What was your first step to take?
So mine's probably a little bit unconventional in that I started HRT about 3 years ago, and I started it under the radar because I felt that.
Right. I mean, the problem you got is HRT at that age. Jesus Christ, dude. It's like, what is it like? What is it like? What is it like? I don't know, dude. It just seems like an uphill struggle, gargantuan effort. You know, you're going against literally like 50 years of biological development.
That what the right thing to do for me would be is.
Did you ever watch something about Miriam? I've covered it I covered the drama around it on stream because that woman ended up chopping herself and shit.
If I'd have come out at the point, you know, where I was still big and hairy and whatnot, it wouldn't have been comfortable. And so I thought what I wanted to do was feminise myself under the radar to the point that actually, by the time I did come out, people had probably guessed it or knew that something was going on because I looked so different. So I started HRT 3 years ago on a low dose, and then just kind of increased it. And yeah, I think within 2 weeks I knew that I was on the right stuff. You know, within 2 weeks it was like a calm had come over me, and definitely, you know, my mum's right. I have lost the aggression that I had. I have lost the angst, etc. And it's because you just feel right. You know, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just you do.
Is it that, or is it the estrogen? Maybe, I don't know.
You feel as if, and you don't know that until it hits you. You know, it's like, oh wow, yeah, okay, this is how I'm meant to feel, and it's great. So I've done it privately, as many people have to do. I applied, or I got referred to the gender identity clinic in 2021. Still not had an appointment yet. So
yeah, I've heard of waiting right now is 7 years. 7 years,
crazy. Yeah. So, and I knew that it was going to be that. So I went with. I've been with a couple of private companies, and the one that I'm with at the moment is really, really good, and they really look after you. So yeah.
If someone is watching right now, can you share the name of the?
And Health. They are absolutely superb. They were founded by Susie Green, whose daughter is Jackie Green, who I think was the UK's youngest trans patient, and they're just a fantastic. They actually they have a vested interest.
Two beautiful women just chopping it up
that are almost run by bots and run for profit, etc. Whereas this company and Health are superb. You've always been my boss, and I've never, ever seen you as vulnerable as you were yesterday. She said it just broke my heart, and I felt like I had to do something for you. And I was like, oh, wow. And this guy said to me, I don't really understand all this trans stuff, he said, but I just want you to know that all the lads have got your back.
Bro, mid-video
and again,
intro.
you're just like, wow, you know.
What would you say to those people who might be thinking about transitioning later in their lives, who have kids, who have partners, and they are scared to come out? What encouraging message would you have for them? Also, they didn't let you in.
They let me in eventually, but it was really embarrassing because I'm standing there at the passport desk, and this guy has called someone else over, and then they've got my passport, and they're looking at it and looking at me like that, and I'm like, oh god.
Oh, there's still a fella on the fucking.
How was your reaction,
still a fella on the passport.
At your workplace?
To be honest, again, considering that I work in a very male environment, it was brilliant. And it really surprised me. I told my employers that I was trans, and they were like, yeah, it's fine. Not that they have much choice really these days. And I said a time or a date that I wanted to kind of go public with it. And so I stood in front of my entire team at the dealership that I worked for, and I just kind of gave a bit of a speech. And I always say this, but I remember I took a bottle of water upstairs with me in case I lost my voice. I'm holding this water, and all of a sudden I just started shaking uncontrollably with nerves, and all I can hear is this water sloshing about. And I'm like, God, stop! But I managed to get the words out, and I got a standing ovation, and they were so good. And then for
a standing ovation, all these fucking mechanics. Woo, yeah, go on, Steve, maybe Barbara, go on. That's insane. Dude, this is the thing. You think they're going to be like horrible about it, but a lot of people are just going to be like good about it, and not going to be like. You'll never be a real woman.
The next day, we had one of our service advisors, who's just a young 18, 19-year-old girl, came in to see me, and she said, have you got a minute? I said, yeah, what's up? She said, and she got a scented candle out. She went, I bought you a present. She said, and I was like, wow, why have you done that? And she said, you've always been my boss, and I've never, ever seen you as vulnerable as you were yesterday. She said, it just broke my heart, and I felt like I had to do something for you. And I was like, oh, wow. And then conversely, I had a couple of our older mechanics come in that day as well, and said, look, we just want to check that you're okay. And this guy said to me, I don't really understand all this trans stuff, he said, but I just want you to know that all the lads have got your back. And again, you're just like, wow, So they were great. Nice. I know, right? So they were really, really good. And
to be honest with you, some of them are probably just waiting for the HRT to do its magic, and then they're gonna have a crack. That's probably what's going on there.
For it to have been any better. I didn't get any negativity from anyone at work at all.
That's amazing. That's amazing, and it's how
me and the lads all look at trans porn.
That's how it should be, you know. Because there are so many people who want to transition or who think about transitioning, and or have someone else or their close friends who might be transitioning. And all they think about is the worst case scenario.
Exactly.
Everyone thinks that the world will collapse, the world will reject them, everyone's going to reject them, they'll be out in the streets. And it's usually actually not the case. Like from all the guests I've had here who transitioned later in their lives, everyone's reaction was okay. No one rejected them, no one disowned them, no one turned their back on them. And I really want to talk about this.
I really support this trans stuff. Any chance of a little nosh?
Right now, always around go to trans. The world is going to collapse. Like they're going to reject me at work. What would you say to those people who might be thinking about transitioning later in their lives, who have kids, who have partners, and they are scared to come out? What encouraging message would you have for them?
I think hopefully you could see, anyone could see that, if I can do it, and as I say, 5 years ago didn't look like this, and now I'm living a fulfilled life. I think where work's concerned, most people need to be assured that the law will look after you now. It's got to. And even though we're going through crappy times with the Supreme Court and the EHRC, etc., it's still a protected characteristic under law. And so, if you go to your employer and you tell them that you're trans, you're safe under that. And I think, irrespective of law, I think there's some good people out there, and I've come to see that with the people that I've spoken to, and I've done some talks at Pride events this year, and I did Volkswagen's Pride event, and I had like 200 people coming up to me afterwards, asking me questions and saying, I had a couple of people saying that they've got kids who have just come out, and there's a lot of good people in the world, and I think sometimes we as a community get a little bit bogged down with the fact that with all the rhetoric that's in the news at the moment, and actually that's the minority. That is not the majority. The vast majority of people out there are going to be people that go, oh well, you're trans, okay, brilliant, that's, I'll give you a hug. In terms of families, I think I've got relatively lucky with mine, in so much that all right, I've lost my marriage, but we're still friends, and we have a relationship, and it could have been a lot worse, I think, with that, and that's all right, that's not reassuring, but I think
so they got divorced but they're still friendly. That makes sense, right? I mean, I can imagine a woman probably being like, "Oh, I'm not sure about that. That's a bit rough."
If you're trans and you've got to do it, you've got to do it. You can't live your life for somebody else. I think that's the real thing that I
Chris
found.
Tyson style, yes, exactly.
You have to be a little bit selfish with it. Yes, consider others, and yes, and hopefully, my family will see that I've considered them in the manner that I've done this. But ultimately, it's your life, and if you've got to be who you really are, you've got to live your truth. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And so, hopefully people out there can take assurance from that, because I'm 50 years old and I've not been out a year yet, but it's great. I can't honestly, if you want to do it, just do it. That's all I can say.
Love that.
Taking notes, guys.
When you were in the process of transitioning,
It's going to be a very different stream on Thursday.
Lauren,
Let's put it that
how
way.
did the process go?
Okay, I tell you what, trying to think of a name was actually really difficult, because my male name, I don't mind saying, was Ryan, and you think, well, okay, what can is there a female version of that? And I thought, well, I can't carry off Rihanna. That's a definite no. So then I went another route, and the reason I settled on Lauren is my mum and dad used to say to me that had they had a girl, they would have called her Laura, and Lauren is kind of phonetically like
my
Ryan
husband
a little
cut
bit,
his
so I've
cock off,
kind of
I
crossed the
thought
two
it
names.
was
So
broadcast
Laura and Ryan has become Lauren,
Lauren,
and it actually fitted really, really well.
It really suits you.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I look at you, I'm like, that's Lauren. Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, that's kind of how I settled on that. I think most people have kind of cottoned onto it really quickly as well, and got used to it. So yeah, I've been fortunate with that. There's a lot of paperwork that you have to do to change all your details over, etc. Driving license and passport and whatnot. And I went on a work trip to Germany earlier on this year, and I hadn't changed my passport yet. And my previous passport picture was beard, and I had so much.
You had a
grief trying to
beard
get
as
through
well.
customs
Oh my
and whatnot.
god, dude!
Also, they didn't let you in.
They let me in eventually,
Yeah.
but it was really embarrassing because I'm standing there at the passport desk, and this guy has called someone else over, and then they've got my passport, and they're looking at it and looking at me like that, and I'm like, oh god, and I'm just standing there going, yeah, it's definitely me. I just look a bit different now, And yeah, they let me through eventually.
I gotta be honest with you. I'm not gonna say it too plainly because you guys are gonna make jokes and go, oh god. I mean, this is fine. I guess as fine as it can be, because it's like they're not like they seem like a nice person, They seem pretty reasonable. They don't seem like the nutto trans that you see on social media, So good luck to her. Good luck to her in all her future endeavours.
Again, to anyone out there, if you're going to transition, get your documentation done early.
Yeah.
Don't wait like I did. But yeah, no, the name change is fine, and the pronoun thing. I'm not precious with pronouns, or I'm not as precious as some people are, because I just think, when you are transitioning later in life, people have called me he and him and Ryan for 40 odd years.
You see?
You can't expect them to just get it like that. They're going to have to get used to it. And so, I don't mind if someone slips up here and there. I mind if they do it all the time, because then that's a behavioural thing. But yeah, I've not really been that precious with pronouns, because we're all human at the end of the day.
That's a pretty good compromise.
Right, and you'll know if someone's messed up, because they'll go, oh, sorry, no, I meant she. And that's fine. You've got to be understanding of that.
Lauren, what advice would you have for trans parents who are in the beginning of the transition, and maybe they don't know how to tell their kids, or they don't know how to still be the parents for them, but don't want to kind of hurt them, especially if, as you said, the role model and the gender expectations of a mom and dad. Do you have any advice for those parents?
I think it would vary depending on what age child you're telling, because if you've got small kids and you make a change, then those kids are going to have a lot of time to get used to it, and that just becomes the norm very, very quickly. But I just think that
Western civilization had a good
easier
run
with younger kids than it is older kids, because older kids have then lived through this society that we're in, and they've got that almost preconception of what a trans person is, etc. Whereas if you tell a young person, look, I'm still going to be daddy, but you know, I'm going to look a bit differently. They're fine with that. Again, kind of what I said earlier on is just own it and trust that the people that are around you love you. Because you know, as I said, me and my son have got a fantastic bond that no one could ever take away from us. It's just that our relationship's a little bit unorthodox now. So again, I would, if I'm advising people, it's just look, be proactive with it. You know, maybe build up to it. You know, don't just drop it straight in out of nowhere. Because again, part of my changing physically was, as I said, my son was expecting me to tell him I was gay, not trans, because of the physical changes. So you know, maybe drip feed little things in rather than sort of dropping a bomb on them. But yeah, I would say just trust that your kids love you, and you'll be all right. And I think with the same with any members of the family.
Beautiful. Before we go on Patreon and talk about your dating life on a deeper level, I just want to touch base.
Oh wait, there's a Patreon dating log. Oh, yo, let's go, dude. I'll be watching that.
on something that is sometimes common with transitioning, and that is the change of your sexuality. Because I know some trans women who transitioned, they were attracted to this gender and then transitioned and they got attracted to another gender. So I have a question, maybe if in those last 50 years, if you've noticed any change in this subject.
I've always been attracted to women, and I'm still very much attracted to women. What I will say is, yeah, you do kind of. I think I appreciate a good-looking guy a lot more than I used to. And I've got some fantastic gay friends, for example, who are just the most amazing-looking guys in the world. And yeah, you kind of have an appreciation for that a little bit more. And I think also just the fact that you can do, because I think if you were a straight white male or a straight male and you see another guy, you'd be afraid of thinking, oh, he's a good-looking guy, because your mates would take the whatnot out of you or whatever. But you know, once you transitioned, I think your barriers go down, and you just, it becomes a bit more fluid. It becomes a little bit more open. So yeah, no, attraction-wise, I'm very much attracted to women.
So last question: what is the best thing about being a trans woman?
This getting the opportunity.
Wait, is his entire channel about trans people? Yes, that's all we talk about here.
And seriously, getting the opportunity to actually, you know, be me.
No, this is just like, someone recommended this and I had nothing else lined up, so I just stuck it on. It's kind of, to be honest, it's trans coal.
And come and do stuff like this, and I'm proud of who I am. You know, I'm proud of the journey I'm on. And I'm very openly trans.
Oh, the channel, yeah, trans crush.
I pass okay, so you know, I've probably not had some of the kind of abuse or the hardship that some people get, and that must be really, really tough. But I don't shy away from it. You know, I want people to know, yeah, I'm trans and I'm proud of that. So yeah, for me, just being able to live my life freely without that cloud over me that I used to have for the first 40 odd years of my life, and be able to, you know, I've got really passionate about diversity and inclusion now, and you know, to be able
to, of that take.
You know, to hopefully influence or inspire other people, that's just amazing, you know, and very fulfilling. So I'd say that's probably the best thing about the whole thing, is that I'm living my life now, you know. So yeah, I
love that. Thank you so much for sharing your life with us and your journey. And when you said inspiring others and being a role model and
anyway, guys,
being very loud and proud, I'm sure you inspired so many of our listeners and viewers.
I wasn't paying much attention to something though,
because your story is truly inspiring. I can see and I can feel your confidence shining through, and honestly, I wish you all the best in your next 50 years of your life. And I can't wait to get to know you on even a deeper level later on Patreon.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for having me.
Well, that was all for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did.
Okay, let me just finalize it with this thing here.